Welcome to the Sex, Money, and Real Estate Podcast, the show for real estate couples about how to close more deals in the bedroom. My name is Bill Jameson.
And I'm Nancy Jameson.
And each week we deep dive into juicy, intentional, sexy conversations, sharing with you what it takes to create balance in your intimate relationships and your real estate business. Thank you so much for being here. Shall we begin? Baby.
Hey, baby.
What's happening?
I'm waving to you.
I see.
Ferociously. Fiercely? Fervently?
Yeah, ferocious. You didn't really look ferocious in that moment.
Oh, thank you. I think.
And thank you, actually. So, yeah.
Whee!
Cool.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Yes.
What's going on with you today?
Oh, my God. I'm just ready to rock and roll.
All right, let's go. Let's dig in. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
I'm Bill Jameson.
I'm Nancy Jameson.
And this is Sex, Money, and Real Estate.
Yes.
The podcast that gives realtors permission to believe the successful balance of their intimate relationship and business is not only possible, it's the jam, baby.
Boom.
Putting the jam on the bread.
It's the jam.
What is the jam, Nance?
Jam are joyous, abundant, mature relationships. And so what we believe is that you can have, again, the intimate relationship and the successful business and be in joy, be abundant, be mature with it. You can have a joyous, abundant, mature relationship with your kids, with yourself, with your money, with your clients. And it's all about, just putting jam on that bread.
Yes. Awesome.
So, and again, it does go back to you. So how do we do that? Well, that's what this show is all about. It's the tools, it's the experiences, it's the resources, it's our assistance, our support in sharing with you how to turn breakdowns into breakthroughs. And we're in the trenches with you. We're on the journey with you. We're in this process. And it definitely takes a community. It's not designed to do it by yourself. And
we're not designed to do it all by ourselves.
No, we're not. We're designed to connect and
be in community.
Yeah, be in community. Thank you.
Commune with others. Yes.
Yeah, all of those things. And so that's what this show is all about. It is about sex, it is about money, and it is about real estate, and all of those are relationships. And again, that relationship begins with you. So we're agents, we're coaches, we have a team, we have kids. we're a team.
Yes.
And we're very intentional about our life. And again, this is a way for us to share all of those things with you so that other mega real estate agent teams, mega real estate agent couples. And then, there are a lot of folks that aren't in real estate that listen to the show as well.
Entrepreneurs, generally.
Yeah. And then just share with them how to increase their emotional and their financial peace. So if that's what you're about, well, then you are in the right place.
And if you love hearing about it from this one place, please leave us a 5-star review and share it with another realtor or a mortgage broker or another entrepreneur. Yeah. Some who may be in business with their friend, their partner, their lover, who could, use this conversation and use some of the tools in here. I mean, you listen to a few of these episodes and you just get one or two nuggets. That's more than most people get in a lifetime, right?
Yeah.
So
it has the potential to move the needle.
Yes, it does. So give it a listen. Listen for what fits you and what is going to work for you. You can leave the rest behind. And again, if you enjoy our banter and our tools and our resources and all the stuff that goes on here, then leave us a review at Apple Podcasts would be a great place to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you are in the the real estate industry, we're in Atlanta. And if you have any of your folks moving to Atlanta, we would love the opportunity to honor them and treat them the same way that you would treat your clients wherever you are. And so, again, we're just Google us. We're all over.
Yes, we are all
Google
over.
will find us.
Yes.
For sure.
Awesome. So we begin every episode with a little bit of banter.
For sure.
And letting people know who we are. And then the other beginning of our episode is we talk about the magic, the way that we've influenced ourselves, others, or life in an empowering way, like in a great way.
Yeah.
And so, I'm going to talk about others today. and our son Lucas,
Okay.
who has really worked diligently in the last year or so on his math skills. He works on a lot of stuff. He's a great kid, and he eventually embraces challenges. Some of them he was take the bull by the horns kind of thing, and especially when it comes to like some art stuff or athletics and some other stuff, he will take the challenge on with a little bit of encouragement, and that's kind of how his relationship has been with math over the last year. And he came home beaming yesterday, when he got 100 on his math quiz on integers, and I just thought that was so awesome. So that's my magic today is the way Lucas has influenced himself and his teachers and his test taking to move things to the next level. He's moved the needle, and I appreciate him for doing it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Awesome. So my magic, I have boy magic also. And you and I were very proactive in deciding that we wanted to experience a level up of how our school mornings go on the way, as we get them in the car for carpool and just, ultimately experience school. So we had a family meeting. And we asked them before the family meeting, we asked them individually what's their perfect day? What's their perfect day? From the time they get up until the time they go to bed, define your perfect day. And they were both very similar with, minor adjustments. Yep. And first of all, that was awesome because they just really spoke their truth. They were very specific about what they wanted to experience. And that was amazing. I mean, totally proud mama moment just because they are listening and how to authentically communicate and express themselves and share. And it was just really awesome. So fast forward to the family meeting. It was very powerful. It was pretty concise. And we said, look, it's our intention we set intentions for the meeting, and it was our intention to move through this very powerfully and for everybody to share authentically and then ultimately be in unison on what it looks like to move throughout our mornings, setting up our morning. I mean, that that speaks to so many things. How we set up our morning is the determinant for the rest of the day. Yeah. So,
like making your bed in the morning. Yeah.
So we all agree.
Set the tone for the rest of the day.
Absolutely. So you make your bed. Your, morning exercises. If they needed to take showers, they ultimately decide to take showers before they go to bed. But making their own lunch, making their own breakfast, getting their water bottles ready, having their mask and their headphones and backpacks packed and all of that stuff. And so they decided when they were going to wake up in the morning and how much time they needed. And then, obviously beginning with the end in mind, leaving by a certain time. And it's working.
Yeah, it is working.
So that's the magic.
I mean, we're in the 90, I would say the 90 percentile, of it working. And I think that's amazing, to be in the 90s.
It is. It is definitely. So it's really beautiful.
I look forward to circling back in another week or so, or maybe this weekend, and just kind of see how everything's working for them, and make adjustments and continue to have those proactive conversations. Would be amazing.
Yeah,
for sure.
And then hardwire in how they personally created the space for them to move powerfully in that supports them and nourishes them, and the ownership of it is fantastic. I mean, it really is fantastic. So I'm inspired by them.
Awesome. All the kid magic today. Rock on. Snap, 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 snap. Awesome.
Yahoo!
And then, Nance, since you're on a roll.
Okay. You're on a roll.
You're on a bun. No, you're on a roll. What are we talking about today?
So today is all about why we create relationship standards. So we have...
That's juicy.
We have inner circle relationship standards. We have outer circle relationship standards, client relationship standards, and then sexually intimate relationship standards. So, it's like, why do we create that? Why do we create standards and guidelines? We use those to interchangeably. We are very intentional about not using boundaries because we feel boundary is a hard, fast line in the sand, and guidelines and standards they're flexible, they're organic, they're flowing, they're open to possibility. So, again, if we're going to set this up here and set the context up, then I definitely think, number one, there's a high level of intentionality behind creating standards around our relationships. And then I do think it's very important to discuss what a standard actually is before we even get into this.
That's great. So, there are multiple definitions for the word standard, right? I mean, and we do use standard for a lot of situations or a lot of different, a lot of different situations. But the meaning that is relevant to this conversation is that it's a level of quality or achievement, especially a level that is thought to be acceptable within a level of acceptance.
Right. And exactly. That's what I was just going to say. And all that to say is that we're talking about setting the level of acceptance around our habits, around our behavior, and then the characteristics of the people that we choose to call friends, best friends, clients, and lovers.
Right. Casual friends to best friends.
Yep.
Like casual friends being like that, that outer circle more than likely. Best friends being more of that inner circle, that inner group, and then obviously lovers are lovers.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. So, few of us, really very few people, in my experience, have like thought about having a standard around the groups of people they hang out with. Yep. And so this it could be a confronting conversation.
100%.
And it is for most. For some, it's a very refreshing conversation because they've never thought about having a standard for the people who are closest to them versus a standard for those who are, not so close, And
again, client standards. I mean, clients are in this too.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of my first exercises getting into real estate, a while ago, or from one of my coaches. Yeah, I guess it wasn't a first exercise, but when I had one of my first coaches, they're like, well, what does your ideal client look like? I'm like, well, they have a heartbeat and money.
Which that was it. But you never really thought about it, but that was it. And then she pushed you.
I was like, I would work with anybody. I can work with anybody. So guess who you get when you can work with anybody? You get anybody, and so you got the clients that'll run you around for a year, and you got the clients that, are tire kicking, and you have, and everything in between, and you have your investors, and you have your, your $1 million clients and everything in between.
Yes. And it literally is everything in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of swag.
And then yet what happened as you started to dig into that exercise?
I dug in, and I wish I had that because I hand wrote the thing out years ago. I don't have it with me right now, but but I ended up writing what my ideal client looked like, and it reflected some of the names of some of the best clients that I had at that point, and their level of education and their level of income, and their just resources and how easy they were to work with, and their level of understanding the process. I mean, I wrote it all out. Yep. And guess what I got?
Yeah, right. And that's
more of the same.
Yes. And so again, I mean, there's that premise again, what you focus on expands, and you're literally creating and building and designing your clientele by design intentionally. And that's what shows up. It's like when you go to a sandwich shop, you don't go, I don't know, you just give me whatever you want to put, whatever you want on that. No. And then you get upset because you're a vegetarian and you get a roast beef sandwich. Well, it's the same thing. Like when you go to a sandwich shop, you're very specific about what you order. You want mayonnaise or you don't want mayonnaise. You want meat or you don't want meat. So it's the same thing with the universe. You're literally discussing and setting the intention. Well, not discussing. I mean, you can discuss if you pray out loud or talk to them. But it's you're literally identifying those specific characteristics, patterns, beliefs, relationships with that person that you want to work with.
Right.
So this is very similar to the same thing. So it with the inner circle and the outer circle. So, it may be a close friendship. Well, let me back up for a second before I go into that. It's important to have these standards set up because it identifies what you will accept and what you will not accept in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things, like as you think about these things, you are going to go into this with really like, it's almost thinking of it as based on what I've experienced, this is what I don't want to experience again. So it sounds like a close relationship that maybe you don't have anymore because money was loaned.
Right.
That was not paid back. That's caused you think twice about giving money out again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
or for you to realize that maybe that relationship wasn't as close as you thought it was.
Yes, exactly. Or the romantic relationship repeatedly crossed the boundary, and you're like, wait a minute, I don't trust this. Again. So,
right.
So as a result of those negative experiences, now here comes what you do want to experience. But in any event, it's important to establish relationship standards because it will definitely assist you in your next move and like where you're going, or it'll assist you in, again, building your business and who you really do want to work with very intentionally. So
beautiful. So the thing to remember is that we're going to attract in our lives, people who reflect who we are being or who you're being.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I don't know how to phrase that when we're on.
I'm being.
Who I'm being.
Right.
I'll speak in I term,
Yeah.
in I statements.
Yeah.
So the people who show up in my life are a reflection of who I am being is what there is to remember.
Yep.
You're a magnet for sure. And so whatever opportunities come up with business, whatever opportunities come up in your romantic relationships or your friendships are a reflection of who you're being in that moment. So you got to ask yourself, what have you attracted into your life as far as relationships go? Do your current relationships support you in your path for being the person you want to be?
Mm-hmm.
Do your current relationships support who or what you're looking to achieve for yourself or in your business?
Mm-hmm.
Are they adding to, are they plussing, or are they taking away?
Mm-hmm.
And typically there is no middle ground. It's like the relationships are adding to you or they're taking away. So
sometimes it's a mix of both.
Yeah, absolutely. Because everybody has their own levels of maturity in different areas.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, right. So there's going to be a little mix. So I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
But again, do they dull you a little bit, or do they help you shine, or is it a mix?
Mm-hmm.
So here's some raw truth.
Okay.
The less
Real
than
talk.
healthy relationships you have are due to a lack of accountability and standards.
Yes. Well, that goes back to that beingness piece because it's your character, your habits, your beliefs, your patterns, your paradigms, the way you live your life that are acting like a magnet. And so the less standards and accountability you have around yourself, then that's what's going to reflect back to you and show up to you. So these standards are about who you are spending time with. It's like roles and responsibilities for who you allow in your inner circle. So it's not necessarily the other person. It's not like their problems or their baggage or any of those things. This is everything about what you're allowing and supporting you with your actions. And I think that that's a really important thing. And, again, if you have had healthy relationships, then that's amazing and fantastic. So then you can definitely have a firm foundation in which you can call upon to say, wow, I really enjoyed this about this relationship. So let's get more of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome too. It's, well, you can do all kinds of things from that point of understanding like the fantastic relationship, but it is important. So here's where we get into the sticking point, because at this point, our coaching clients, as we're moving through this part of their program with them, they're looking at us kind of like WTF, wait a minute, you're telling me that, these people do I need to put people through like an assessment
Right.
or like a test, or do they need to, like get screened, or like what's this problem or what's this process like? And that's not actually really what it is. Again, these are all things that we're talking about for someone to be a part of your life. And go ahead.
Well, what I'm hearing you say is that you already have those in your life. It's just that you're becoming clear on them.
Mm-hmm.
The people you have and whatever they bring to the relationship is what you allow me, allow to bring to the relationship. So, if you have that family member or that friend or that business person and you've never had that internal conversation around, and I'm just going to use money as an example because I think it's just easy. Like, your best friend that you have, you've known forever, and there's a lot of character maturity there between you and them.
Mm-hmm.
You may, part of that, your internal standard, whether you've thought it or not, it's conscious or not, is I would loan them $1,000. I loan them $2,000,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd be 100% okay and on board with that, or loaning them whatever amount that you have to be comfortable to loan them, and you wouldn't think twice about it.
Yeah.
As opposed to, a
client
a client
yeah,
that needs $2,000 to close on their property.
That's a great example. Yeah.
And you don't have it. There's no character process there, and
there's been a little bit of mistrust,
and it creates, and them needing the money creates more mistrust because they're your client, and and you can feel it in your body. That is not in alignment with how you're doing business, or essentially it's a standard that you wouldn't loan a client money, but you might loan your best friend money.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
And you can think about it as your best friend versus your 12th cousin twice removed that you've only seen once in your life. You're probably not going to loan them the $2,000.
12th cousin.
Whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yes, I do. I totally do. And, the other thing I would say in addition to that is that why this is so important to set up these circles are because you become the people you hang around with.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
If you have a set of standards or guidelines that are governing, that you set up to govern your life, and now you have a set of standards that are governing who has access to you on the most intimate levels. I mean, your sexually intimate levels. I mean, you're literally combining energy. I mean, it's sex. I've heard the acronym SEX is sacred energy exchange. And so here we're combining and integrating energy and connecting and all of those things are flowing and you're creating. I mean, we've talked about this many times before. Sexual energy is one of the most powerful energies, contributing to life force. And so who you allowed in your energy, your sexual energy, and then who you allow in your intimate energy, your friends, family, kids. I mean, they may not be in your inner circle, and then who you allow in your secondary or tertiary or outer circle. Those, I mean, you're hanging around with those people, so you become those people. All of that, you become the average of the 5 people you hang around with.
Right.
So.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's make sure that your worldviews, your beliefs, your thoughts, behaviors, habits, and character are all aligned before you start hanging out with them. And so, again, you're setting yourself up to become the person that you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
You're setting yourself up for the relationships that you want to have. So, all that being said, let's get into the 3 types of relationships that we're talking about here. And we've talked about it before, but not all relationships are the same.
Right. So if you're taking notes, you got 1 is your outer circle relationships.
Yep.
You have number 2, and these are in no particular order. There is your inner circle relationships. Mm-hmm. And then number 3 is your sexually intimate relationships.
Yes, absolutely. So as we're going through these 3 types of relationships, just here are the questions to kind of noodle on and meditate on while we go through these descriptions. So who are your top 5 to 10 people that will help you get where you want to get in the next 5 to 10 years, who will support you, who will nourish you, who will add to you, who will support you and getting to where you want to get in the next 5 to 10 years. And then who are the people that you will allow to impact you at a deep level? I mean, this is financial, sexual, in, family. So relationships, in religion, spirituality, like who are those people that will allow you to impact you at a deep level?
All right, so let's kick it off with outer circle. I'm just we made some great notes here. I'm going to read them verbatim.
Of course. Okay.
All right, outer circle. These include general friends, acquaintances, people you are friendly with. These people come in and out of your life fairly regularly. They may be people you see at work, as at functions for school, or through other social circles. You may enjoy the time you spend with them and consider them all around pleasant people. For whatever reason, they aren't part of your inner crew. However, it's not because they have some fundamental character flaw. They're just your outer circle of friends and acquaintances, and that works for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So getting down to like an example of that, I mean, it's if you think of, again, we go back to who do I lend money to?
Mm-hmm.
If you think of...
Or your car, or let's sleep at your house, or something like that.
Yeah. Who watches your kids for while you go away on vacation?
There you go.
Like that's, I mean, who do you trust? So immediately you're going to think of, okay, this person I trust, there is no way in hell that this person's going to watch my kids. And this person is definitely a runner up in case my first choice is not, So that's how you're literally utilizing this as a means to kind of start seeing where these, your folks are going to shake out.
Mm-hmm.
So
nice. So you don't want our kids to spend a week or two with the people who are going to give them, free puppies and espresso shots for a week?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. Got it.
Well, unless maybe the puppies stay there and they're watching them while they're having those espresso shots in their body.
All right. Number 2, inner circle.
Yes.
What is an inner circle? It's an energetic circle you create that you can't see that creates you and your life. You intentionally design energy circle to help you with your success.
Yeah. So it's that invisible force field, again, I mean, these are energetic circles that we're talking about.
Yep.
They're not like in a group me or something like that, but they're energetic circles.
Yes. These inner circles address 5 things: money, sex, time, resources, and spirituality.
There you go.
Those things you were just speaking of, actually.
Yep.
So these include best friends, people you turn to to celebrate milestones, right?
Mm-hmm.
The folks you call when you're in tough times. These people have most likely been with you for a number of years and have gone through some high and low life circumstances with you. People in your inner circle may be childhood friends you've known since you were in diapers. They can be also people that were there for you during a rough time in your life, and your friendship has stayed intact years later. These would be the people you'd probably invite to your bachelor or bachelorette party, or folks you trust with your secrets or your fears. And the bottom line is that they're your crew. They're your homies, your ride and dies, your besties. They're your everything,
Yeah.
So
we're reading directly from our coaching program. So this is right out of the JAM method. These are exercises that we assist you and support you with in going through building your relationship standards. So, I mean, inner circle, again, these are the ones that you spend the most time with.
Yep.
They're the ones that you invite to your birthday party.
Yep.
Or your anniversary dinner, or
you celebrate,
or you're texting
anything
on a daily basis.
Right.
You
spend a lot of time with them.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. So let's talk about SIRS, sexually intimate relationship.
Yes.
standards.
Let's talk about sex.
So this is your most intimate romantic relationship or ships. This is the person or people you share your bed with, and the person or people you wish to build your life with.
Mm-hmm.
You share your dreams, aspirations, and goals with them. You support one another, confide in one another, uplift one another, and are there for one another through it all.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So
you're inclusive of sexual experiences. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
So, cool.
So again, here's the point in which people go, okay, where do my family fit into all of this? Like this, literally, I can't even tell you how many times this happens. It's like,
oh, you mean after you go through all three
the three
different
relationships.
the three relationship standards, and you're asking about where do my friends and family,
Yes,
and especially family, where
yes,
do they fit into
yeah.
with this?
It's like, it's almost like you expect family to have its own category because it's family. I mean, that's just like one of those societal patterns that are overlaid onto us as we're growing up, is like, family is everything, like blood is blood, it's thicker than water, so it's a fascinating concept, being family centered versus principally centered, which, by the way, I think this is a great point to discuss, is that these three types of relationships that we're defining here in these energetic circles is being principally centered, is being, divinely guided and not emotionally centered. In other words, when you're emotionally centered, like being family centered, then when the family feels bad, you're supposed to feel bad.
Right.
When the family feels happy, you're supposed to feel happy. And so, in other words, your happiness, your energy level, your identity, your validation as a human being is all predicated on what the family is doing. And we're discussing, while that's fine, that is an experience that you could experience. I mean, Lord knows that we grew up family centered, and I mean, we've definitely experienced that. And so,
some family center, some church center,
some spouse centered for sure. And what I can share with you is that being principally centered is definitely a lot more peaceful.
Again, it takes out of the highs and lows out of it.
Yes, it's a lot more peaceful. So when we're talking about family, again, you're setting the standards and the responsibilities that you share with them, and so these are your standards, and this goes with friends too. And as you're delineating between these circles, you allow them to show up where they want to show up. So the standards are for you and how you're governing your life. This is who I want to spend my most time with. This is how I want to spend my time with. And let them decide. Let them choose. Because then the power is in their hands and it's their choice. Like, you don't have to feel responsible for them or change your standard and adapt your standard for them to fit in because you're going to, upset somebody or any of those things. Like, just because someone is family doesn't automatically place them in your inner circle. So
keep that in mind.
It is. It's cool. I mean, it's really cool. It's cool. So our question is, why would we spend the time and the energy to define these three types of relationships?
Because I'm worth it, baby.
Yes. And I'm worth it too.
And
you are worth it. Yes.
We're all worth having these kind of conversations and these kind of standards in our lives so that we can live and be the greatest versions of ourselves that we can be.
Yeah, absolutely. And have those extraordinarily connected, amazing, magnificent, and all the words, just have those relationships, like have that experience, have that life by design, have that business by design, because it's all based on relationships. And so you're worth it. You're worth it. And when you, I can share with you, as I became more and more clear on my standards, the revelation of that I'm worth it and I'm worth hanging out with and I'm honored and I'm cherished and all of those things, like all of that really became incredibly clear. So you're worth having intimate relationships. You're worth having inner circle relationships, and you're worth having, how people show up for you in your secondary circle. So, or your outer circle. It's amazing. I mean, it really is amazing. So,
and it's a big conversation.
Yeah.
When we go through these, in our coaching, it takes some time.
Oh yeah, it does take time.
This is not like a 1 or 2 day conversation. It takes some time. I mean, there's been some breakdowns to breakthroughs, and there's just a lot that comes up around it when you start putting standards to things. There's no doubt about it. So, and sit there and think that you can listen to this podcast, and maybe you can definitely start creating some guidelines for what it looks like. And I'm going to say that whether it's Nancy or me, or great, we're happy to coach you on it, but get somebody who's going to understand and be a little less biased on things, to help guide you through creating those standards for yourself, because otherwise, it's going to get a little convoluted. It's going to get mixed up, and your feelings are going to, you're going to end up hurting your own feelings while you go through it. So it helps to have an objective point of view, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I got.
Yes, absolutely. So we're definitely curious about your comments and your questions, and anything else that comes up for you. And, again, feel free to drop us a line or comment on anything, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or email.
Email works?
Email works.
Yes. Cool.
We're here.
So we'll see you on down the road. Thanks for tuning in, listening in, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome. Bye.
Peace. Wow, what a show. Thank you so much for listening. And if you're inspired, we ask that you share the podcast with one person and subscribe and follow the show. I'm Bill Jameson.
And I'm Nancy Jameson.
And remember, it's a great life.
Quick note about the Sex, Money, and Real Estate podcast. We are not doctors or licensed therapists. We are a joyous, abundant, and mature couple passionately sharing our story of growth around sex, money, and real estate. Our thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are our own, so please consult your doctor, healthcare provider, or your broker regarding any questions or issues you have related to your physical or mental health or specific state laws regarding your real estate business.